All right, welcome back. It's so rapid, John. Hope you had a great time right there on Eastern Circle with Daisy and Michael. We're back about 9, and I did promise you a great conversation with our guest this beautiful morning. This week, we're going to be focusing on issues relating to family, social issues, and of course, less of politics. And we kickstart with example of Monday. Now, this beautiful Monday, there are some things that are very, very pressing. I know government policies, money, financial matters, climate change, inflation, country is hard. These are good conversations. But our society has its own importance. And of course, family is very, very important in our society. And if the family is not in a good place, then everything you're working for is just basic, right? And so this morning we're looking at bullying among teenagers and of course parent involvement and solution as well. Now this conversation stems from something that has been trendy for quite some time. Now if we look at recently this year, there was a movie that came out on Netflix and titled Adolescent. Now some person might want to say, oh, that is in the UK, but in Nigeria we've recorded a high level of bullying among our children, and people keep asking the questions, oh, who is the bully? These bullies, do they come from families? Of course they do come from families. They're bettered by humans, and so definitely they have a family. And so there are new emojis popping up which stipulates that these emojis that we used to think were normal are no longer normal, but they are bullying signs as well. How can parents, be up to date with the times, especially when you have Gen Z children or Gen Alpha or the other generation? How do you cope with all of this happening in the society? It's almost like they grow so fast, and before you know it, you're outdated. And if you don't keep yourself up to date, your child might just be passing through things that you cannot explain, or better, you might just get to know very, very late. And so this morning we'll be having a great conversation, and our guest is right here to have this talk with us on bullying among teenagers and parent involvement, as well as answering some other pressing family questions. And so she's well equipped, for all of the questions I have this morning and the conversation we're about to have. And my guest is Mrs. Aderemi Emmanuel, a child psychologist come parenting coach. It's so great to have you on the show this morning.
Good morning, Cynthia.
All right, let us start from the beginning. Did you get to see the movie Adolescent?
Yes, we actually view this as a family because it's a trending issue in the society now, especially amongst teenagers. So adolescence is actually about bullying, cyberbullying, and then how to manage teenage rage, male rage, and then the culture of incel, So Jamie, according to the story, when I heard it, stemmed from the knife crime epidemic in the UK right now and all around the world. It is happening in Nigeria as well. Then it talks about cyberbullying. There are different types of bullying, but cyberbullying is so much on the rise now, and it's affecting our teenagers, our children, even right from primary education, right from primary classrooms. So Jamie is a child that has deep-seated insecurity, and he has low self-esteem. What actually happened in the movie is he asked one of his classmates out, Katie, when he saw a topless picture of her, yes, being circulated on Snapchat. So he got attracted to her, but she turned down his proposal and then started sending obnoxious remarks and bullying stuff, views, tweets and all that to him. Now, he actually tipped him over the edge when she called him an incel on Instagram. Now, who is an incel? An incel is somebody who cannot be romantically involved with another person. And when our teenagers are evolving, they are attracted to the opposite sex, the opposite gender. There are changes in their body, so they want to know, they feel they have arrived, they feel they know it all, and then they want to know if the other person the other gender is looking at them. So he felt bad, he felt slighted by what Katie did, and eventually he stabbed her because he couldn't control his rage. Now, there is something that is going on online now. It's been on for some time anyway. There's this guy, Andrew Tate. He's recruiting a lot of young males into believing that women should be subservient. There was a time Andrew Tate was banned on, I think, Twitter. Yes, was banned on Twitter for saying women are responsible, should be held liable or responsible for being sexually assaulted. I mean, who does that if you are not mentally deranged? You know, that's one. Then there was a time he put up a tweet and said, I love, to a girl, to a particular lady, and said, I love raping you. And he's recruiting a lot of young males, young children, boys especially, because he's a self-acclaimed misogynist influencer. You know, he despises women, he disrespects women, he doesn't believe women should have a voice, should be heard, should speak up, you know, and he has very strong prejudice against women. So we could say he's a male feminist.
well, I would want to disagree on the male feminist, because how can you be putting out so much hate, knowing that you have a cult following, and there are people who, no matter what, when they wake up in the morning, they just want to listen to Andrew Tate. So, and this is what you put out, then you're not giving proper information out there. Let's now, I mean, having created a foundation, let's now come back home. Looking at the foundation of the adolescent and which gave rise to several conversations, because not only in Nigeria, even in the UK, it made the government to begin to look inwards into the school system, into the cyber system, and lots of, you know, new reforms were being made after that movie. Because it was more like, oh, this is what is happening. And it was like, one child is telling you, oh, you don't even know how to read the signs. You are approaching this case from a different angle. Let's now bring it back to Nigeria. Okay. We have our kids on social media. So many. In fact, the debate of should children hold phones or not has been ongoing. First of all, where do you stand on that? Okay. For our children, we have one young adult, we have an adolescent, and we have a teenager. For the two of them that have gone out of the house in the higher institutions now, we didn't give them phones until they were in their SS3. Yes, their last class in secondary education. And then we put parental guidance, you know. You couldn't just, we didn't give them express access to ISP, to the internet. We didn't, you know. We were able to regulate it until they left the house. And then we had a conversation with them about online involvement, online dealings, what you should look out for, what you shouldn't do, what you shouldn't watch, what you shouldn't feel. Because we believe as parents, my husband and I, that whatever you feel, you feed your mind with will affect you as a child, you know. So we don't believe that a child should have a phone until maybe in the last class in secondary education. But now schools do online academic activities. So they tell them to bring their devices to school and all that. So, well, I don't know, but I believe that they shouldn't have unlimited access to the internet. Okay, that been established. Now the conversation is about bullying, be it physically or cyber, right? We've had kids being bullied. We've attended several bullying workshop. We've even had several scenarios right here, which we've even discussed on the show last year, and the likes. The bullying statistics is actually very high. It's very, very high. Yes. Now, it's almost like a lot of parents, when they hear, maybe a school calls them that, oh, your child did this, your child is a bully, or your child is being bullied. They act surprised. Why is that? Why? Now, there's something I put up on my social media platforms, that most parents are now drowned with the vicissitudes of life. They don't have that personal involvement in their children's lives.
You know, times are challenging. The economy is not, it's not easy. Everybody's going out, unlike our own grandmothers and our mothers that took up jobs that made them stay more at home, maybe businesses and all that. But now everybody wants to be in the marketplace, so they don't have the time for their children. Parents really don't have the time for their children. It's very important, number one, to educate your child on the word bullying. You have to, it's a must for you to have an online experience involvement with them. You tell them what bullying is. You shouldn't be a bully, and nobody should bully you. And you tell them the signs to look out for when you are being bullied. When you have a friend who constantly puts you down, who constantly say things you don't like, then probably it's time for you to, and you've told your friend you don't like it. Maybe it's probably time, it's high time for you, you changed your friend, that friend. You understand? Then if you are being bullied in school, report to the school authority. That's the first step. You have to report to the school authority. Then you tell your child to be kind. That's another thing. To be kind, not being a bully himself or herself. Then parenting cannot be outsourced. It cannot be outsourced. You have to instill confidence intentionally into your children. You know, we do school bus runs with our children, but twice a week I still go to pick them, and while I pick them, I ask them questions. How did your day go? What was the high point of the day for you? You understand? So in the course of our conversation, I get to understand what they went through in school. Maybe I need to we need to intervene. Maybe we need to talk to the school authority about one thing or the other. I would say, because the statistics is high, I would say that there is no child that has not been a bully, especially not being bullied at one time or the other in the course of their 12-year experience in school.
There's no child.
Honestly, there is hardly. Don't let me overgeneralize now, but there is hardly any child that has not been bullied at one time or the other, be it physical bullying, verbal bullying, relational bullying, because there are different types of bullying: relational bullying or cyberbullying, which is common, is more common amongst teenagers in secondary school. You know, because they put up WhatsApp platforms, they have class groups and all that. So they do different things, they say different things to one another that may cause them to be withdrawn, you know, signs of bullying and all that. So basically, you have to have that one-on-one conversation with your child about bullying.
Okay. All right, let us look at some numbers. What even gave rise to this? For those parents who are probably wondering, okay, let's look at cyberbullying in the light of the movie that came up. There is a periodic table that lists out some of the things that indicate bullying to your child. So just in case you pick up your child's phone and you see somebody sending a message with some of these emojis, what you can make of it. Let's have that on the screen. Let's have this. All right, so if you look at these tables, you would see a lot of emojis that originally should not mean anything, but they apparently mean something. And so, which of course the UK government, you know, had to make this a big deal for working parents. So if you look at that, you would see some emojis there. Some of them have knife, some of them have this like this, some of them have the ugly face, some of them even have the laughing emoji, but it means something else. If you look at it, you also see that some of them have a signpost, some of them have a lot. So after the show, you can also, you know, take your time to look through these emojis very, very well. Or maybe we could also put this table on our social platform so that, you know, parents can look at it very well. And of course, the police in the UK has actually warned schools and parents about the incel emoji code. If you look at this, you will see the fruit with the two fruits joined together. You will see a lot of things. What you think is supposed to be sausage or something means something else. What is supposed to be corn actually does mean something else. It now shows that the world has gone more than what we used. So, I mean, as a child psychologist, I would want to ask you at this point, do we have more problems on our hands right now? Because it's almost like we both can't even understand some of these things. But when these things are put out to these children, it hurts them really bad.
Yes.
Looking at how advanced the method of bullying has gone, how can parents, you know, move with the times? Because it's not just enough by asking your child, how are you today? Did somebody did this to you? Someone might not be pushing him or her, but might be sending them emojis that you can't even interpret as a parent. How do you help such a child?
Okay, you have to learn the emojis. Parents shouldn't go rusty. For you to be involved in your child's life, then it's very important for you to go with the times, you know, the challenges your children are facing. So you have to learn the emojis. You tell your child, call your child one-on-one and ask them, what are the emojis that are being used? Or you go online. They may not want to open up to you, especially if they are teenagers. You know, teenagers, they don't really like to have that conversation with their parents. So you might have, as a parent, I do that. As a parent, you might have to go online and search for those emojis, those signs that you look out for, so that when you see it on your child's phone or device, you will be able to say, oh, this child is going through this particular moment in his or her life.
Okay. You did something very important about, you know, teenagers don't like talking about certain things.
No.
This is not a new thing, because we've heard this over and over again. How can we solve that? Because they have to be able to rely on someone.
Yes.
They have to be able to, you know, speak to someone. If you cannot speak to your parents, then who are you speaking to? So how do we solve this? Because it's almost like you ask every parent and they're saying the same thing. Oh, he doesn't, no, he will not talk to you, she will not talk to you. We need to solve that.
Yes, we need to solve that. And it just doesn't drop on the laps. You must have created that relationship. You must have cultivated that relationship right from the onset.
So how do you cultivate that relationship?
By talking with them, by asking them questions, by relating with them, not as not understanding the times. You have to be on guard with your child. Right from when they were 2, 3, you create, okay, when our children were much younger, we used to have, each of us, my husband and I, we used to have one-on-one with them every week. Every week. I will talk with our son. We have a son and 2 daughters. I will talk with our son every week. And my husband too did the same thing. Every week we ask them questions. We talk with them about everything and anything. No, there were no restrictions when it comes to having conversation with our children.
Age?
From 3, 4, we started doing that.
Okay.
And we did that through their primary education, their secondary education. And there is another thing, you know, parents don't take cognizance what their children like or love or want or gravitate towards. For instance, what's the name of this guy? Jamie's father.
Yes.
Yes, Jamie's father thought he gave him everything, the basic needs. But the child gravitated towards drawing and painting more than him taking him to football, to boxing. He didn't like that. There was a time he was bullied on the pitch when he was playing football, and the father was just looking at him. And Jamie was lost. He expected his father to rise up to the occasion and defend him, but the father did not do that. Those are the signs you look out for right from when they are young, and make sure you are your child's role model. Yes, very important.
All right, so this issue of talking to your child from when they are very young, 2, 3, 4, you start having this one-on-one conversation. This is a part where parents have to be intentional. Because some parents don't even get home till like...
And they are tired. They are worn out.
Imagine you are living in Lagos.
With the traffic.
You wake up very early in the morning. You come back, you get stuck when you're coming back.
Yes, in the traffic.
What time do you even have to come?
Maybe weekends. Maybe weekends. You still have to eke out time for your children. You can't relegate your responsibility to the nannies, to caregivers. You can't do that. You have to have that presence in your child's life. Then there's another thing. You replace the presence with your presence. Don't think because you give your children everything they need, everything they want, you take them out, children may forget what you gave them. They may even forget the memories at times you created with them, taking them to different countries and different places. But they will never forget how you made them feel. Never. So at every point in time, you must make them feel worthy. You must build that self-confidence in them. Talk to them in a way that when you are not there, they still remember what you have said. You understand what I'm trying to say? You create that enabling, that nurturing environment in the home for them to thrive. You know, during our own time, our fathers were odogus. Let me use that, if I can excuse that word. You know, you couldn't relate with your father. Your father couldn't be in the sitting room and you sit down with him.
No.
But nowadays, no. And some fathers, unfortunately, are still like that. They're still like, it shouldn't be that way. Your children should feel free and be able to tell you everything. Don't let it be, oh, what will mommy say? What will daddy say if they hear this? Let it be, oh, I've messed up. I've made a mistake. Well, let me tell mommy, let me tell daddy. They will have the solution. They will tell me how to navigate the murky waters of life. You understand? So that as parents, you are a successful parent if your adult children can still relate with you and talk with you. You understand? When you are feeble, when you are weak, you as a person, you as a success, as a parent, is when your children, your adult children, can still relate with you.
But you made a very important point, because a lot of times children want to find the solution outside. Instead of bringing the problem home to be solved. And unknowingly, a lot of millennials are like that.
Yes.
Because we can't even take your problem to your parent. You just want to find a way to solve it outside because you don't want your parents to feel some type of way. And that's because a lot of parents, especially those who were under the who are millennials right now, there was no much of the talking conversation, although very few of us did have that you know, I mean, you see this thing you said, it reminded me of me and my dad. At least my dad was doing that, you know. End of the week, no matter how busy he is, he will, okay, as you're coming to meet him on Saturday morning, how was your week? Okay. What happened today? What happened yesterday? Oh, there's a mark on your face.
You're a fortunate child, I must say.
How did you get this? You know? Yes. And sometimes when he hears that, oh, somebody hit, why did somebody hit you? You know, it was well, one of the few persons actually that enjoyed that. Okay. And I think that's why I wasn't bullied. And I was not a bully. So it's one thing. So let's now come to the other side of children who are bullies.
Okay.
Because we've talked about those who are being bullied.
Okay.
But let's come back to, because in that movie, Katie was actually a bully.
Yes, she was, apparently.
Because she didn't want the guy. It's not just for whatever Jamie did, you know, but she was a bully. She ignited whatever rage that was residing in Jamie. And there are people like that even in our children's schools.
Yes.
Your child doesn't know that he has a monster in him. But there's somebody
until he's triggered,
who's there to trigger that person.
Yes.
So let's look at the bullies. These bullies come from homes. I was talking to somebody some time ago about bullying, and he said, for every child who is a bully, check their parents very well.
I was going to say that.
They have signs of, they were once bullies. How is, because some of these parents may not be able to remember that they were bullies in their days. So let's now answer this question of, your child is a bully and is becoming a mess in school and in the society. How do we salvage that? Not forgetting that we also have parents who might have been bullies during their days. How do they solve the problem and help their family?
Now, it's a vicious cycle. A child that sees his father bullying his mother, or people that are working for him, will feel and assume that is the normal way of life, that is the norm.
Okay.
So that's why I said you should be a role model. You should be the first role model your children are acquainted with before they go out there, before they go into the world. You understand? So if you are a bully yourself, your child will pick it up. I mean, most bullies, they become bullies because they are being bullied themselves. Some parents, they exert dominance by bullying their children innocuously. they are not, they're unintentionally. It's not deliberate. They just feel, don't talk, keep quiet. Don't. I'm talking. When I'm talking, you don't avail them the opportunity to express their emotions. You stifle their emotions. You don't allow them to express themselves. You understand? So the child may just become aggressive in school and feel, okay, the best way for me to have dominance on this person is to bully the person. You understand? And they just do it. They don't know, they just do it. That is one. Some children have low self-esteem. That's why I said parents should speak words of affirmation into children. There are behaviors you learn, you unlearn, and you relearn. You understand? So you have to speak words of affirmation to your children. You have to encourage them. If you see them gravitating towards a particular cause or work of arts, you have to encourage them. You have to encourage. You just have to encourage your children. You have to speak words of affirmation to them. Otherwise, the child will go out there and be aggressive. Okay, it stems, like I said, it stems from low self-esteem, insecurity. I mean, bullies. Why people bully? They want to dominate. They want to have dominance, exact dominance. Then it might even be because they are not well appreciated. They are undervalued at home. At home, you know. So basically, and they are being bullied at home as well. So when they go out there, they feel this is the only way my voice can be heard. They like the attention that they get,
and they're not receiving that.
And some people, because they see their father, especially their parents in general, doing that to people that work for them. You understand? Okay. The people that work for them, they see the way they relate with them. So it's very important for us to be intentional when we relate with them. Don't be bothered about that they are not listening to you. They are watching you. They will replicate exactly what they see you do. The children, they will.
So you talk to your nannies anyhow. You
anyhow,
your
yes.
Anyhow. They feel like that's
people that are vulnerable. You talk to them, you relate with them anyhow. You don't respect them. So they feel, okay, this child, it happens most of the time, bullying in school happens in isolation. So once they pinpoint that this child is unassuming, I can do whatever, I can talk to him, I can shove him, I can push, hit, hurt him, scratch him, do whatever. They look out for such unassuming
those
children.
Weak ones.
Yes, those weak children, and they bully them.
I remember something happened in school many years. I think that's like, well, it didn't work with me because they had this boy who was always, dominating
everybody.
And I mean, in fact, that was my first day of school.
Okay.
And he wanted to, show me that he is in charge, and he wanted to be, he wanted to be chaotic. Unfortunately, they want him, not with this one.
Should we stand up to you?
He didn't listen. Okay, so he took a whip and he stained my white shirt. I can never forget that because I don't play with my white. And then he took a whip and he used it on my white, and I saw the stain on my white, and the rest is history. I made sure he received a dose of that whip as well. and
yes.
First day of school, and that happened. And I think that was the end of him, pouncing on students. That was the end of him. So anytime he sees that he wants to do something to somebody, and maybe I'm around, he just withdraws.
Yes.
Because he feels like I might come at him again.
Yes.
And so they don't go to strong people.
Yes. We must encourage our children to fight back.
To fight back.
Yes. Very important.
Some people will say, are you not teaching them to be violent?
Violent. No, you are not. No, now, fighting back does not necessarily mean getting physical with them. No, not that. But somebody says something you don't like. Tell the person, be affirmative, be resolute, be stern, be firm. Tell the person, don't say that to me. I don't like that. I won't take that from you.
Good.
And if he doesn't listen, go and report to a school authority. And if nothing is done, report to your parents. I tell you what, your parents will take it up from there.
Okay.
I will take it up from there as a parent.
Do you think that schools should create maybe like a forum or maybe a group or a team that handles, because I noticed that the rise of bullying, the numbers are out there. We have about As of 2021 to 2022, 19% of students aged 12 to 18 were reported being bullied during school, which was actually lower than the percentage of 2010 thereabout. As at 2024, the number have already increased again. So in fact, now we have 40% of young people being bullied in the last 12 months, and 6 of all of these young people had experienced bullying daily. So it's more like somebody's bullying you every single day you come to school, while others maybe it could be per week or thereabout. And so this is a serious problem. We also have another statistic saying that bullying is verbal harassment and 79%, social harassment about 50%, and then physical bullying 29%. Cyberbullying now accounts for 25%, and so it's a lot. Yes. And it's almost like in different countries the numbers vary. And also in Nigeria the number also varies. So do you think that schools should come up with, let's say, just to say you have disciplinary committee?
Okay.
Should we have a committee dedicated for bullying specifically?
Specifically, well,
so that when the child is experiencing this, they can just go to the big bullying committee and say, this is my experience, without everybody knowing in the entire school.
That's the work of a guidance counselor, actually, in schools in Nigeria for now. Yes, a guidance counselor would counsel the children. And then in my children's school, in last child's children's school, they do seminar. They talk about bullying. You know, they talk on the parent forum. They do seminar. They talk to us about bullying, the signs to look out for, and all that, and for us to educate our children not to be a bully, not to be bullies themselves. So, well, what you just brought up is a good one, but it will take time for that to happen. To have
parents like
bullying.
you push for it. Why not?
Yes, but because the dynamics of each school differ. So it will take time for them to have a bullying committee, as you have just said, mentioned in schools. But it's something we can look at. Something that should be looked at, really.
I think the
in schools.
education ministry should
come up with that.
Yes. Bullying committee, because it is becoming a problem.
Instead
of the entire school knowing, because these kids also feel ashamed that everybody in the school knows that they're being bullied.
And they don't even want to talk about it.
They don't want to talk about it.
Yes, and the bully keeps perpetrating that.
Okay,
they don't want to talk about it.
To the relevant authority watching us, or that will watch us on the social space, we need to have a bullying committee in our schools, be it primary school, be it secondary school, even in the university. We should have a bullying committee, because bullying also happens even in the university as well.
Yes, it does. And it happens everywhere. Workplace, religious spaces, everywhere. Bullying is everywhere.
Yes, you see your child not wanting to go to church because there's somebody who is going to tell him, see your big head again. And so he feels bad about that. All right, let's now look at the other angle, answer some of the questions. There were some questions I shared with you, and you were like, oh, this is because of one or two. So let's have this thing answered, which is targeted at mostly our young females.
Okay.
We know that we have a lot of work to do when it comes to our children, our teenagers, but it seems like we need to put extra effort and extra eye on our female teenagers, because a lot of things are going wrong. I did share with you the question one lady was asking about how she overheard her child talking with her friend about how they want to meet the target of
body count.
It's indirectly saying the number of men that they intend to sleep with. Now, this child we're talking about is not even up to 18. This child is 14 years old, and you're already saying that you have 18 people that you've slept with, and you want to meet up 50 by the end of the year. These are not the kind of conversations a 14-year-old should be having with her friends. Where did we get it wrong?
Okay, first off, parents see such conversations, some parents see such conversations as taboo. I mean, talking about sex education and all that. But, well, parents are evolving anyway. The 21st century parents, an average 21st century parent is no longer like that. We want to talk to our daughters. We want to tell them the essence of chastity, the essence of keeping yourself, of not being loose. it still boils down to the fact that parents don't have time for their children and they leave everything to chance. These children are exposed to so many vices, so many ills in the society via devices, online program and all that. So I still believe we need to educate our girl child. I have a program that I do every 11th of October, the International Day of the Girl Child, with schools from low-income families. I do it every year with girls, where I educate them on the power, on empowering them academically, getting education, breaking the cycle, and all that, you know. So it's very important for us as parents, as mothers. Some girls may not feel comfortable discussing such things with their fathers. So as the body changes, as they are approaching puberty, there's some talk we need to have with our girls. Yes.
Some might want to disagree. Someone like me, who is the papa girl. I mean, everything I knew about man.
Yes, men are being
body, everything.
Yes, I know.
It was from my father.
Yes, I know.
He was so. What's the
hands
word?
on.
No. What's the word? What's it called? No filtering.
No filtering with him.
It was clear.
Oh.
It was absolutely clear. And there was something he said to me when I was entering the university. He said, with what I have done with you, if you decide to do anything in school, it's because you chose to do it. You were not deceived. You were not cajoled. You were not nothing.
Coerced.
It was solely your decision. And it made me feel good. Do we have parents who can say that with what I have done with my child,
I can send him or her out there. I know he's safe.
Anything they want to do is because they chose to do it. Do we have parents who can boldly beat their chest and say that?
Some parents are very intentional when it comes to nurturing, admonishing, and raising their kids, their children. Yes, especially this our generation, the millennials. We are very intentional. You know, we talk with them and then we expose them to positive contents. You understand, on the internet. Like, that's what I do. When I see anything, I send it to our girls, especially. I send it to them. Even the younger daughter, I send it to her. I tell her, see this, read this. You need to know this. Yeah, you need to have the knowledge of this because it's going to help you out there. Our first daughter is in the university, and what your father said to you is what my husband, her father, said to her.
Amazing.
Yes, yes. He's a very intentional man, you know. Great. So we just have to have that conversation with him. It's very important. Yes.
All right. Do you think that, as we get set to wrap up, do you think that there's another thing that parents need to do? Because I know there's somebody who is probably watching and saying, I've done everything. We've been focusing on the girls a lot. We've tried all the methods. Oh, don't do this. You know, from generation to generation, the way of teaching girls have evolved. You know, before it was don't climb the tree with you. You said don't see your pants and all of that. You know, a lot of things have changed. But do you think that for that woman who is probably frustrated, or for that man who is the one with taking care of the kids, and he's like, what am I going to do again? Because it's every time you go on the social space, you see it's as if all the training you've put into the young girls, it's like it's not working. We still see things that we don't expect them to put out there. And you can just be in your house as a parent and you're seeing your daughter shaking her bum on the social space and you're like, is this what I taught my child? It's saddening for a parent. Is there something else that parents need to include, you know, to be able to help themselves?
We cannot talk about parenting without talking about prayer. Yes, we need to pray for our children. What they are grappling with is enormous compared to our own time. Number one, peer pressure. They want to belong. No matter how much you talk to them, no matter how much you admonish them, you expose them and all that, they want to belong. They feel left out. Like there is a thing called relational bullying. When a particular child will tell other children. Don't be friends with her.
With her, yeah.
Don't include her in our outing, maybe during holiday or a birthday party. Don't. She's a snob. She's this. She's that. Don't let her come to the party.
Wow.
You know. So you must tell your child that it's okay to be different. There's nothing wrong in you being different. If they don't like you, well, they don't like you. That shouldn't define you.
Mommy and you will go out.
Yes, we'll go out. You know. You can find. Then you tell them, find your true friends. You know, find your own tribe that have the same ideologies, the same dreams. You understand what I'm saying? That have the same thing. You have the same thing in common. You know, you hold the same virtues. It's very important for you to teach your child that. And don't forget, like I said, the power of prayer. Pray for your child, irrespective of your religion, the religious sect you belong to. You know, to pray for them. They are going through a lot compared to our own time.
I would say that we've had a great conversation. Before we wrap up, let me share this because it's almost like everything you're saying, I can definitely relate to them. And like you say, prayer is important. I remember my grandma always called every day to pray. And, you know, then you don't get to understand it because you feel like, am I possessed? but you're not possessed. It's just go with God every single time.
Yes.
So there was this incident that happened when I got to school the first year, and there were this group of friends, and there was this girl who was supposed to be my friend. She was actually like the only person I knew at the time as my friend, and okay, not as my friend, but to get to be friends.
Okay.
And before I resumed, she already had some friends.
Oh.
And so it's more like, you don't have anybody, this is the only person you have, so you have to be friends with her friends as well.
Yes.
But I discovered that I can't be friends with these people. I can't be traveling from school to another state to go hang out. Not like I can't do it, but I don't want to do it.
Because they don't have the same values that align with your values.
Exactly. And at that point, it was in my first year in school that I coined for myself, if you cannot beat them, you leave them.
You leave them. Not join them.
You don't join them. And so I think since then, every single person I've ever met, I'll let you know, if you cannot beat them, you leave them. Don't change them. Don't try to.
Don't even try to.
Because you might get changed.
Yes.
You might end up getting changed.
Yes.
So don't try to change them. So I must say that it's a great conversation for every young girl watching out right here. If you cannot beat them, you leave them. Don't change them. Don't talk to them. Just, if you don't want it, don't entertain it.
At all.
And try to speak with your parents.
Yes.
Most importantly.
Very important.
Your mom or your dad.
Yes.
As we get to wrap up, would you have any last words you want to say to parents?
Yes. Parents, they are parents, like I say on my platform, on my Instagram platform, deliberate _ parenting. You need to be intentional. You need to really be involved in your child's life, everyday life. You need to talk with them. You need to pray with them. You need to let them know your values. What are your values as a family? So that when they go out there, they don't get wrapped in the warped mentality of their friends. You know, have positive values for your family so that they can run with it as they go out there. And remember, when you are feeble, when you are weak, your success as a parent is you still having the same relationship you had with them as they evolved. You know, you having that relationship with them when they are grown, and then you will be satisfied, you will be fulfilled as a parent that you have done your own parts and they are living out what you have inculcated into them.
All right. I will say a very great thank you for having this conversation with us, and of course being able to speak to parents and young children, adults about the bullying, parenting, dangers, and of course when you're trying to help you, cooperate with them as well. There's one question I missed out. Our time is fast, but let me ask it. Okay. One very tricky question.
Okay.
Were you ever bullied in school, and how did you handle it?
Oh my goodness. I was bullied in school. I was bullied in secondary school because I've always been an assertive young girl, you know, very assertive. I will stand up and I will tell you my mind, not in a rude way, but in a very firm way. And you know, girls, they'll be like, what's wrong with her and all that. And there was a time it actually got to me. I had to speak to my mom that this is what I'm going through in school. And she said, just keep being yourself. And that really helped me a lot. I was bullied for being assertive and not going with the crowd. I've always liked to stand out and to make my intentions known and to put out my values out there. You know, most vices that teenagers ran with during our own time. I went to school in the early 90s, secondary school in the early 90s. So I didn't run with it because I was a Christian girl. Maybe that helped too. I went to church a lot. So I would say it's actually helped me. So I was bullied, but I was able to overcome the bullying because I spoke out to my parents. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for having this conversation with us. Bullying among teenagers and, of course, parent involvement. I would say that on a Monday morning, you give us your time. It's not easy, and we appreciate you for that. My high five.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. Mrs. Aderemi Emmanuel, child psychologist, parenting coach. I hope that you've gotten that. If you missed the conversation, you can also go to our YouTube. It's going to be uploaded after the show on our YouTube page, Official Rapid TV. And of course, you can get all of the conversation. And every time you need to be reminded of who you are as a parent, you can also watch our YouTube page and of course share to all your families and friends and let them know that bullying is not something to be joked with. And of course, you need to learn and evolve with the time because you are there for the kids and these kids are relying on you to help them. You do not want to fail as a parent. You do not want to be referred to as a failed parent. You don't want your child to see you and say, oh, I had a father who couldn't do anything for me socially, or I had a mom who didn't even know that I was going through all of these problems. And as a child, also learn to speak to your parent. Not just speak to them, but also speak with them. These are two things very important. If you're able to imbibe that, I'm definitely sure that whatever storm that you're facing among your peers in school, you'll be able to weather the storm. Thank you so much for joining me on the show this morning by extension. It has been a great morning. And you can reach us on our social media platform on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course we are on X. So you can join us and join the conversation on our X handle. You subscribe to our YouTube channel, Official Rapid TV. And you definitely know that you don't have to stay in one place to watch us, right? We are on the go on our website, www.rbnradiotv.com. I will see you tomorrow morning, bright and early at 7 o'clock. Until then, bye.
Hello, Rapid TV. My name is Aderemi.
Hello, Rapid TV. My name is William Suchemba.
My name is Choma Chukuka.
Hello, Rapid TV. My name is Stan Nze.
Hello, Rapid TV. My name is Vivian Glam Gabriel.
Hello, Rapid TV. My name is Jide Kene.
Hi, Rapid TV. My name is Steve Chooks.
Best